Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's. Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
All right, question of the morning. Hot takes or toast. The Big Ten gets 2 teams, Michigan and Illinois, into the Final Four. Are we clear that the Big Ten is now the best conference in football and basketball? BK, people just aren't buying that. We are not clear. Russell, yeah, sure, whatever. Ben, we are not clear. Ben's not buying it. Ryan, was there confusion? Okay, we found one Big Ten fan in the group right there. What it comes down to for most people is they're arguing the basketball, not the football. Al, most years the conversation is usually the Big Ten was a disappointment in basketball. And also we've got people pointing out they haven't won the title since Izzo and Michigan State in 2000. So need a little more out of them before saying they're dominant. Could just be a blip. Could be a one-off.
Okay, well, if you're admitting it's a one-off, then you're saying yes.
2 teams in the Final Four this year. Yes, I would say that. There are people now. The leagues are so big. There's 18 teams. 2 teams can't drag a whole conference along. They're bigger than that. That's Mike's take. 2 of the Final Four, you get to beat your chest. But are you dominating it? And maybe I'm just getting my perception colored, but the SEC beating on its chest in football, where year after year, they had 2 of the Final Four. They had the champ. It's the SEC's world. We're all living in it. It'd take more than 1 year. This year, yes. And the other thing is, I think there tends to be more carryover in football because you don't lose everybody, whereas in basketball, because the top guys are eligible for the draft after 1 year instead of after 3, I mean, your odds of keeping an elite player are really small between the transfer portal, eligibility running out, and guys bolting for the draft after a year or 2. It is really hard to stay dominant. I mean, last year, the SEC they had a great NCAA tournament last year. They were awesome.
But we're not talking about last
this year. They're invisible. I know, but it changes in a year.
Okay.
So you had a good year,
then we'll have
the
discussion next year, God willing. But we're having it right now. We're not having it last year. We're not having it next year.
They've had the best year, but they're not dominant. But this year, they're the best.
Well,
but I think they'd like to claim a level of dominance that I'm not going to concede.
Who said anything about dominant? It's the question. Find the word dominant in the question, and I'll give you $1,000. We said the best.
They are the best this year.
Well, that's the question.
They're not dominant.
Okay.
It doesn't say this year. It doesn't say this year. It says,
yes,
are
it
we
does.
clear?
They get 2 teams in the final. In order to get 2 teams in the final, that is this year. I don't know how many teams are going to be in the final next year. So, it doesn't say it, but if you got a brain, you can figure it out. The teams are in the final this year. This is when you're talking present tense. Do you need to spell out this year and this year only? They got 2 teams in the Final Four this year, and they had 2 other teams. They had 2 other games in which Big Ten was playing Big Ten, so Big Ten had to lose.
They're going to knock themselves out. Gary says no SEC teams, and that is great. He doesn't care about the Big Ten. He just wants the SEC out. And they're out. Okay, so they're the best. There it is. Should we just sit here quietly now for a few minutes?
Well, you want to say that they're not?
They are this year.
Marky Mark, your Mark, says that the Big 10, Big 12 is the second best basketball league. No, it's not.
Who have you got as the second best basketball league?
That gets you, well, the Big 10. I mean, that's what he's making a point that we're the second best behind the NBA. So we're talking about the second best. And then you asked me who the second best is.
Got it. I thought you meant the second best in college.
That's not what Marky Mark, your Mark says.
Yeah, well, Marky Mark needs more out of his teams in the tournament to back that up.
Right. That's where who cares what you do in the regular season, because you have to have a first-place team in every conference. Whether you're good or not, it doesn't matter. But you have to have one because you're playing each other. So you're going to be judged by the NCAA tournament. You're not going to be judged on your non-conference. You're going to be judged on what you do in the tournament. Right? I mean, I don't see how other way. And the Big Ten, to me, they're the best. And
they get to beat their chests this year. There's no doubt about it.
And in football, they're the best. I don't see any other argument. And so that's why I'm saying, are we clear? Yes. No one said they're going to dominate for the next decade. I have no clue.
Well, they'd like to think. They got a lot of money. Can they press that advantage and get on a big run in both these sports?
Yeah, I mean, what best teams don't have a lot of money? What great teams? Arizona spends $22.5 million on basketball. And you can look that up. I mean, that's just an enormous amount of money. I mean, why do you think players go there? They've been paying guys for years and years.
Years.
They go there because the 75-year-olds that sit in the first 20 rows are great fans and all that stuff. I mean,
yeah, the desert landscapes, the saguaro cactus, the 75-year-olds in the first row. Yeah.
I mean,
and the cash.
Yeah, that's
cash
where they put
good.
their emphasis, and it's smart for them to put their emphasis there because they can make something out of it. I mean, they've never really played for anything that matters in football. Softball, they've been very good, and baseball, they've been good at times for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that. But basketball, they had a few blips here and there, but other than that, they've been really good for a long time. And you'd have to say that the money that they're putting in, they're getting back, and it's working for them. I mean, I would think that who knows? But I would think that they'd be the favorite. I haven't seen any odds, and I don't understand basketball odds anyway. But, I mean, they've sure looked good. They've looked good basically since November. If I'm just going to go strictly on resume, they look the best.
Arizona the best, and then Michigan, and that's the semifinal Saturday.
Yeah. And there's some thought, should they reseed it? Sure, but it's not like you can reseed based on seeds. You're just going to have to reseed based on Ken Palm or something.
Yeah.
So it would be hard to do, and why buy yourself grief, more grief? You take grief on the way you set things up usually, although basketball, the committee doesn't seem to get as much grief as football. For one, it doesn't matter as much. Football is the driving force overwhelmingly. And then when you're letting in so many teams, we're going to quibble between a 1 and a 2 seed or a 3 and a 4 seed or whatever. That seems a little pointless. So they seed the way they seed. And this year it looks like the two best teams on paper anyway, for what that matters, are going to face each other in the semis. But that doesn't mean that whoever wins can't have a great game against whoever wins between Arizona and Michigan on Monday, a week from tonight. And I mean, it could be a last-second game and as thrilling as can be too, just like the Duke UConn game was. So I don't really have a qualm about that. I can't say, oh man, that stinks. They should have reseeded. I'm not so concerned about that. If they do it, it's not like that one year several years ago, the Suns and the Spurs went 7, and then I think they played the Spurs won in that controversial thing where a couple of Suns guys, including Stoudemire, was suspended. And then they played the Nets and beat them 4-0. I mean, that was a big come down. I mean, who knows? I mean, we're talking about Arizona, but at the same time, wow, Michigan, that was a tidal wave that was unstoppable yesterday. I mean, they just I felt bad for Tennessee. I wouldn't think there's that big of a difference between those two teams, but yet when they played on that day, March 29, in the middle of the afternoon, our time, man, it really was. I mean, Michigan I don't know that I've ever seen a team look as dominant in a regional final. If I have, I certainly can't remember. I mean, that was a blowout of epic proportion. Hard for me to imagine that they'll have 2 more games like that. If they do, then wow, they may go down as one of the greatest teams ever.
33-point blowouts in regional finals don't happen every day, but that is pretty much how they've treated people. I mean, it's been all double digits, and only one team stayed within 20 in these 4 tournament games. I mean, they've just been annihilating people. 21-point win, 23-point win, 13 over Alabama, and then the Tennessee blowout.
Yeah, they took it to another level, though. I mean, that was everything was going their way. I mean, they just couldn't be stopped. It's like some baseball team getting 15 hits in a row or something outrageous, or a soccer team scoring 2 goals.
Ooh.
You live with intention, what you allow into your body and what you don't. Like you, Azure was well built on a higher standard. Truthful, transparent labels, every ingredient listed. No proprietary blends. Organic isn't our finish line. We go further with rigorous third-party testing beyond industry standards to verify purity and potency. Living deliberately means choosing products that align with your values. Azure Well, wellness without compromise. Visit azurelivingwell.com. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Every day, the world gets a little weirder and a lot more awesome. Cool Stuff Daily takes a look at everything from mining in space to the latest in the fight against cancer to how AI is, basically changing everything. It's all the cool stuff you didn't know you needed to know. Join us for Cool Stuff Daily as we take a quick look at science, tech, and the wait, what stories that make you sound way smarter at dinner. Subscribe to Cool Stuff Daily now, because the future's happening fast, and it's way too fun to miss.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm gonna give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Well, that's the game. I mean, they could reseed because they seed them even on the one line. It's, you know who the first, second, third, and fourth 1 seeds are. So they could reseed them if they want, but you're right. It is a headache. It's not what they've traditionally done. No, you're going to get a massive game out of it. So what the heck?
I don't see any point in it. And then the ratings Monday will take care of themselves because it's literally the final. So maybe they get, and they I guess they did that. TV did that by putting the Arizona Michigan game second. So they didn't necessarily, obviously they didn't reseed, but they placed it where they thought they can get a bigger bang. I assume that's why they're doing it.
Yeah. They usually put the more attractive game as the second one, figuring later at night, more people are free to watch it. And it usually pays off.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with UConn, Illinois, but Arizona, Michigan, those are 2 teams that, like you said, people have been talking about both these teams since November. So here it is.
And I want to see
1 seed versus 1 seed, 2 heavyweights.
Well, I want to see Michigan win. So on Monday in Annapolis, I can see Whittingham there in a Michigan polo.
Will he be there Saturday?
Probably. I don't know what they have spring football wise.
Yeah.
I don't know what their schedule is. I know I can tell you through conversation that they're in the middle of it right now. I know that, but I don't know what if they have practice on Saturday because you're limited to 15 spread over 4 or 5 weeks. So they may have Saturday off, and maybe he can get there. Everything in that part of the country seems about 4 hours away. So wouldn't be that hard. And there'll be some booster that would fly him over, and the president or whoever. I assume the president would already be there on the Saturday. So maybe he'll be there on Saturday. I mean, we see that all the time. We see the head coaches of other sports. We see that in Omaha in baseball. Yeah. If a big name school is there, you'll see whomever it might be.
Yep. Sarkisian was at the Texas games when they were making their run. They were putting him on TV all the time.
Yeah, right. So I want to see him in some Michigan gear.
This is a tough time of year. You're right, though, for football coaches to break away. But Michigan and Texas play in a women's regional final tonight. Maybe Sark and Kyle can both go to that. All these Michigan's in the hockey playoffs, and Michigan's doing everything. I've seen Michigan people tweeting about it nonstop. They're winning all over the place.
Well, yeah, the women are going to be UC Los Angeles and UConn. Let's get on with it. It's been that way for weeks and months.
Just waiting for that game. Everyone else have your tournament, but in the end,
I mean they are by far, unless they're matched up in the semifinal. I don't know what the bracket is, but I mean they've been the two dominant teams, and that's not going to stop. That will not stop this year. And I think the women's basketball committee and whoever is involved in it and all that stuff would want to see that, because that has a chance to draw some eyeballs, and they've got some really good players, including the Neepkins gal who played 3 years at Utah.
Yeah.
And then transferred out last year down to Westwood. So that would be kind of funny to see Kyle in a Michigan golf shirt, acting like he's just this diehard Michigan fan. If he had little kids, they would face paint Michigan. I guess maybe it has to be his grandkids.
Yeah, get the grandkids there. Let's go. Get the face paint.
Meet me in Indy.
All right, kids, let's go.
Yeah. Well, he has grandkids living in Ann Arbor because his one son, I think, has 2 or 3 kids. So they'll be there to see that. We'll see that when the season starts, although it won't be as pronounced when you got 100,000 people in the big house. I mean, at game day, like their game day is as good as any game days that I've been around, and I've been to a lot of them throughout the country. With that many people, it's just massive. It's basically obviously double the size, and Utah has a very good game day too. Their atmosphere and all that stuff is awesome, and it's come a long way, and they're big time. But now you're going big time. So that's my reason for rooting for Michigan. No other reason other than that. Whatever, but I want to see.
You want to see Kyle there high-fiving his grandkids.
Yeah,
with everybody in maize and blue.
Yeah, and maybe who knows? Maybe Jay Hill, Jason Beck. I mean, they're certain making enough money they could charter. Now, Freddie will be there. That little thing. They mic up and put, social media. They do this, and so I've been watching that for Michigan. I feel like I've been watching a ton of stuff, and they put their press conferences. Everybody does it, but I don't care about Northwestern or what have you. And I go and listen to the Michigan stuff. And they had Freddie the other day trying to hit the goalpost during practice with his arm. And he knew he could do it. And I don't know how many tries it took, but he got it. So he hit the bottom bar, the crossbar, in practice.
He used to be in charge of doing that stuff at the U. That's how they ended up trying to throw a ball out of the stadium. That was his idea. So he's always into that kind of stuff. Anything to make these the drudgery of these never-ending practices a little more fun because the games are so far away.
Yeah.
So what is Yormark going to do to get the Big 12 back on top? What can be done? What must be done?
Well, I think I have a little saving grace if Arizona wins.
Yep.
So that will take care of it to a large extent.
He can get up and say that.
Yeah, I never really believed that they were the clear-cut second-best basketball conference in the world. I thought it was a nice line that that he keeps continuing to spin, and he's paid to promote it. He's basically, in a public sense, not when he's doing his work, but when he speaks, as all commissioners are, they're basically nothing more than public relations people. Particularly for him, since the Big 12 doesn't right now have the prestige as the other two. And you can argue maybe not the ACC. To me, that's sort of a dead heat, but I mean, you can argue it if you wanted to. So he has to continually sell his conference, what they're trying to do. You know, he's got to grab attention on that. So I appreciate his line when he said it. I know he said it at the press conference before the title game in the Big 12 at the Cowboy Stadium the morning of between BYU and Texas Tech. He said that multiple times, and then he's since said that. And that's good. I mean, he's paid to sell it. He's paid to do other stuff, but when he makes his public appearances before the media, that it basically is PR stuff.
Yep. But I just don't see how you can spin, because the thing about the Big Ten this year is they got 6 of the 16 in the Sweet 16, and the Big 12 had 3, and now they've got 2 of the Final 4, and the Big 12 has 1. So if Arizona can win it all, that'll give them something to talk about. Yeah. But there's definitely work to be done. How do you get the other schools to pay 15 or 20 million bucks? Because you're going to have to get in that neighborhood. We've already heard Kentucky's in that neighborhood, and it didn't pay off. So that's clearly a neighborhood that multiple teams are if they're not in it already, they're going to be in it quickly. So if you can't get to that neighborhood and stay in that neighborhood, how are you going to compete at the top? We heard Houston, Kelvin Sampson was talking about they just don't have that kind of money. He says the teams that have better players, they keep recruiting. We stop recruiting because we run out of money. I mean, he was really just put it all on the table there. He didn't dance around it much at all.
I don't know if there's anything you can do. I mean, I don't know that it rests with Yormark. That
find your
is
billionaire
charged.
investor at each school.
Well, a willing one.
Yeah.
And just because you have a ton of money, who's to say that you're really that interested in sports? Like Ira Fulton is a big Latter-day Saint guy down in the Valley of the Sun, and he has donated millions, but how much of a sports fan do they want to do that? See, the School of Engineering on the campus, literally on the campus, not someplace else, for ASU, that's the name of the engineering school.
It might be the same thing in Provo as well.
So he's doing that. That organization, that family, that company is donating a lot of money, but you can argue very strongly for far more important things. Right? And I'm a sports fan. We're sports fans. I don't have any problem saying that. So you've got to get somebody they've got to get their jollies by having their team, their college team, their youngsters between 18 and 22 or 3, whatever. They've got to get their jollies by having that team win. You know, and getting that publicity, that Cody Campbell for president as I drove into the parking lot at AT&T Stadium. That's the first thing I saw. Take a left to get off the main street, and then you went in the parking lot. I went right, and then when I took a left to go to my parking spot, so I'm now fully immersed on the grounds of the Cowboy Stadium, and literally the first thing I see is a truck facing the stadium, and in the back window, covered from both ways, width and horizontally and vertically, Cody Campbell for president. Yeah. Well,
if you get money and your front seven's that good, why not? Right? Seems like a leap. The front seven's really good to Cody.
Yeah, and that's not to say Cody Campbell's not financing academic colleges within the university. He very well could. But you still have to get somebody who gets their jollies by having the team win. And how many people are there of them? I mean, Riley Jensen was in for us last week, and grateful for him coming in. And, he was talking about he knows somebody who works at BYU that they have 4 billionaires within 5 miles of the campus, and they want to see these teams win. And maybe you can argue for BYU, it's a higher calling if you want to go down that road. You can argue whether it's true, but I think it is that they believe that, okay, if I give money to the basketball team or the football team, that's furthering the cause of the Latter-day Saint religion. I really think you can argue that, even though in basketball there was 2 guys, Latter-day Saints, who played, and then they both had injuries, one early, one later, and then they had 0. But in a roundabout way, those guys, the Robert Wrights and DeBonsas, they're furthering the cause of the LDS Church. I don't believe that's their intention, but we still think of that way. So maybe for BYU, they can get that money more regularly. I don't want to say easily, but consistently might be the better word, because if they may feel, in a sense, I am donating to my religion, whereas at the University of Arizona, obviously you're not going to have that. It's just you're donating so Arizona basketball can win, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly heard that over and over the years we've been doing the show from multiple administrators at BYU, that what happens with the athletic department does over time in specific ways, and they'll point out specific examples. They'll say, this has an impact on the church, on religion.
Right.
And I know not everybody embraces that, but it's clear multiple people in leadership do, and they've got specific stories that they'll share and back it up. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you look at the number
motivates-
of guys who've converted by playing football. I mean, we couldn't name them all. Andy Reid at the top of the list.
Yeah. And so at the same time, it is also about sports, because people want to be in the locker room after the game, and they want to be seen on social media being in the locker room after the game. You get to do something most people don't get to do. So you got to find out what gets somebody's attention and why they want to do it, and then go down that path, whatever it is.
Right.
And if you don't have one of those people back in your teams, you're going to be in trouble pretty quickly. Your best players.
Well, if your definition of trouble is having a nice team and go out in the first or second round,
losing
I guess.
games, right? Yeah. As guys who went to Big West and Big Sky schools, well, we don't have people with that kind of money, and our guys, if they do anything, they're going to transfer.
Yeah, and I'm personally fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't get my jollies out of an 18-year-old winning a football game or a basketball game. A lot of people do, and that's fine too. I'm grateful that there are those people, because that helps me stay employed. It's not my thing, but if it's other people's things, so be it. I don't have a problem with it.
Victory in Flagstaff just doesn't move the needle for you that much.
Actually, for me, victory in Flagstaff was far more fun than victory in Tempe.
Because you knew the guys.
Yeah.
There was an actual connection.
Yeah. I mean, they lived down the hall. It wasn't so massive.
You didn't have an athletic dorm, and people still went to classes.
Yeah.
Everything went online. So,
yeah. It was like it was a bigger high school in a sense.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Steve Cleveland talking NCAA tournament at the top of the hour. Barry Trammell talking about the Thunder being upset with the Jazz. That's coming up at 9 o'clock. Stay with us.
You live with intention, what you allow into your body and what you don't. Like you, Azure was well built on a higher standard. Truthful, transparent labels, every ingredient listed. No proprietary blends. Organic isn't our finish line. We go further with rigorous third-party testing beyond industry standards to verify purity and potency. Living deliberately means choosing products that align with your values. Azure Well, wellness without compromise. Visit azurelivingwell.com. These products have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Mike Bolo of Lexicon Valley.
And I'm Bob Garfield.
Are you one of those people who sometimes uses words?
Do you communicate or acquire information with, language?
Hey, us too. So join us on Lexicon Valley to chew over the history, culture, and many mysteries of English, plus some wisecracks.
Find us on one of those apps where people listen to podcasts.